I think now I am audible. Please let me know in the messages. Fine, 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 fine. We'll quickly start now without wasting any time. We'll start our thing. Okay. So, as you know, the unemployment is a very important chapter as far as prelims and mains are concerned. When this debate of inclusive growth was there in the last planning commission, the issue of unemployment was debated not just in parliament but also UPSC focused many more times on it. We know that in 2014 prelims we have question like disguised unemployment. In 2017 we had questions on unemployment like the NSSO survey of 2014 70th NSSO round. They have asked in 2018 also same question. So in 19 they skipped unemployment part, but again in 20 we have 3 to 4 questions indirectly related to unemployment. So this is a very important chapter. We will begin. First basic definition. Unemployment is when labor is available or willing to work. Here we can see the most important part is not all workforce, but means not all the workforce which is willing to work but does not get employment. Okay, they are willing but they are not able to get employment. Only those are counted as unemployed. Now these are some criterias uh, where physically fit, one is physically fit, mentally sound, well qualified, willing to work, but he's not able to get a job. It's basic. And now this kind of diagram will definitely give you edge in the final examination, mains examination, uh, where it is given that unemployment are of two types. One is involuntary, where you are not having the control, and another is voluntary, where you are having control. So involuntary, structural, frictional, cyclical, seasonal, and disguised. This was the question in 2014, if I remember, or 13. They have directly asked, what do you understand by disguised unemployment? Disguised unemployment, and this still remains very important as far as UPSC is concerned. Disguised unemployment is the one where marginal productivity marginal productivity remains productivity remains zero. That is disguised unemployment, where this was the option in UPSC prelim examination. uh, what do you understand by disguised unemployment? Where marginal productivity remains zero. So, what do you understand by marginal productivity? We will explore it through an example. In Indian agriculture is very classical example of disguised unemployment. Indian agricultural enterprise. If a farmer family had 10 acres of land, 10 acres of land, two generations back, now in after two generations, they still hold 10 acres of land. Now 10 people were required, it's an assumption, okay, 10 people were required to farm a land of 10 acres. Now after two generation, that family has 35 people who are working on same 10 acre land. Two generation before, for example, let's say when the production of wheat was 100 quintal, two generations later it still remains 100 quintal, because that's the maximum that land can give. So 35 minus 10, 25 people of that family after two generations are disguisedly unemployed because they were not able to raise the marginal productivity even by one. The production remained same because the land was same, and this is a very classical case of Indian agriculture, because with each generation we fragment the land, but that land remains in the same family. So the production of any agricultural product remains same even if more number of people with passing generations are employed in agriculture. So they are disguisedly unemployed. I hope you understood what is disguised unemployment, and this is the most important thing. They can still ask question on this only, because these are just for your knowledge, but I don't think other than disguised and cyclical syllabus it will go beyond these two things. Now we will come to next thing, cyclical. For example, same Indian farming but drought farming, the drought hit areas farming. This is the classical example which you can quote in the cyclical unemployment, because only in the Kharif season from June to, let's say, November or December, this is the cycle where they are agricultural laborers, but due to without irrigation facility, they cannot go further. So their employment stops here. So seasonal monsoon, when the season of monsoon is there, they are employed, and for when there is dry spell, they are unemployed. So they go to alternate avenues of employment, like labor, urban or rural. Then they work in private enterprises. Okay, so this is seasonal unemployment. They are unemployed for a season. And another very important scheme was launched by government of India in 2005 to target these seasonally unemployed people, specifically to target these people. And that scheme is the most means UPSC loves to ask question on that scheme, which is called as Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, NREGA. NREGA, the definition of NREGA says that they promise you 100 days of employment in a year for unskilled labor. Okay, so why this 100 days? It's mandatory that you will definitely get 100 days of labor in a year to fill this vacuum, with this vacuum of season where there is no employment. So you should connect the dots. You should be able to connect the dots, because if unemployment challenge, then government must be having some policies to counter it. If unemployment is disguised, like in Indian agriculture, where marginal productivity remains zero, then the schemes of the government to elevate this situation is intensive farming, SRI, then move up and move out approach, move up and move out. You need to move up all those disguisedly unemployed by skilling them under Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana or Startup India or Stand Up India. See, these are the schemes where such disguised unemployed people are targeted, they are trained, they are skilled, and they are absorbed in some another industries. Food processing industry is another game changer where government is focusing, because first thing, it is a rural enterprise. Another thing, it absorbs not only surplus agri products, the agri products which will be wasted. Food processing industry not only absorbs surplus agri products, but also surplus agri labor. What a beautiful line to write in the mains when question will be on food processing industry. It is a rural enterprise. It is a model of MSME, and it not only absorbs the surplus of food surplus. It not only absorbs the surplus food, which will ultimately be wasted if not processed, but it also absorbs surplus labor, which is disguisedly unemployed in agricultural enterprise. Plus, low skilled labor is required. You don't need very high skilling. So on one hand, this is sustainable governance, where you are not wasting food, you are utilizing resources. If 25 people are disguisedly unemployed in a family, that is such a waste of human resources, which is very precious for our country's growth. So this is the policy, Kisan Sampada. Kisan Sampada model of food processing, food parks, food parks. You need to quote these things: food parks, Kisan, Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. These are focused and targeted towards food processing industry because they are also very essential for one, decentralized growth, addressing the rural and agri distress, sustainable utilization of agricultural as well as human resources by absorbing surplus food and surplus agricultural labor. So this is how you score extra mark in mains. So we have seen disguised and cyclical, seasonal. We, these were the two important thing where UPSC has asked question, and it's high probability that they will ask. Rest are frictional. I guess I remembered this frictional unemployment to my own story, because what is frictional unemployment? Where I was a I was a MBB. I am a MBBS graduate from Grand Medical College and JJ Hospital, and I worked as the head of the casualty department for 2.5 years approximately. So, but I left that job to pursue my civil services career. So, from 2017 to 2020 till my result was out, I was unemployed during this thing, but I had a professional degree where I could get any job in any hospital, even in Delhi when I was preparing there. But I chose to remain unemployed so that I will get a next job of higher ranking and with good career perks. So, where people are voluntarily unemployed because they think that they are underemployed. Same was the scene with me or many of you having professional degrees or who have left their jobs to study for UPSC, who have left their good rolling businesses for their civil services career. So in this phase during UPSC, we don't do job. Much of the people don't do job because we need to focus on our studies. So we chose to remain unemployed. It's not that we don't have job in the market. We definitely have at any time we want, but we choose to remain unemployed because we think that we are being underemployed. Means underemployed, another beautiful word to remember. I remember in last mains I have written this sentence that in India, not just unemployment is a challenge, but underemployment is also a very big challenge. Because today's people, that's why we see most of the doctors, IITians, chartered accountants, lawyers, architects, and many professional across the disciplines, they are coming to civil services because in any field, uh, either be in government sector or private sector, the whole system has not been able to produce the high quality jobs that one dream of, and that is being promised in civil services. And that's why we see many of the aspirants with very good professional degrees, they are turning towards civil services because they think that they are underemployed. They fear that their life might go underemployed. So they are moving towards UPSC and they remain unemployed by choice. So this is friction. It's just friction कि आज या कल की बात है, कोई कभी तो हमारी बात बनेगी. वो that there is a song, अपना टाइम आएगा. So this is frictional unemployment is in that spirit only कि we all are waiting कि अपना टाइम आएगा. Structural, as the name suggests, the whole structure is built in such a way that unemployment will be there. So structural means, let's say, I will give you another good example. Irrigation. In 1960s, when Mr. Visvesvaraya and Swaminathan, they stressed on agriculture and irrigation. Visvesvaraya ji handled irrigation part, and MS Swaminathan focused on agri part. So government opened huge irrigation departments. We see 1970s to 80s. Many of our many amongst us, हमारे parents किसी के होंगे जो agriculture department होंगे. This was a boom for employment. This department, for say 100 employment were there, but today irrigation department with advancements in technology and irrigation, minor irrigation being given to Gram Sabhas, and municipalities, local self governments now being handling most of the water supply part. So this department has got very less relevance now. Center with accelerated irrigation benefit, AIBP, per drop more crop, on farm water development, on farm watershed development. So many ministries, right from center to the Gram Sabha, now they are focusing on irrigation part. So this irrigation department, which was under state government during 1970-80, it still remains there, but its relevance has been lowered. So there are hardly 5 employees in the irrigation department of my district. So this is this what now it had a capacity of 100, but now it is absorbing only 5. So 95 people now remain unemployed because of this structural change, because the whole department has lost its relevance. Same will happen with banking in coming 10 years, because all the banks with brick and mortar will disappear. Only few branches at the district places or town places will remain, and rest of the banking will be done online. It will go on digital mode, because the cost of running bank, the cost of maintaining ATMs, the cost of maintaining branches, the rent is there, the security is there, the light electricity bill is there, housekeeping charges are there. So it's a very expensive enterprise. So to cut the cost of banking and to efficiently run branches, digital banking will be the future, where brick and mortar and human interface will be reduced to almost zero. And that's how today banking is a very big employment giver. Now in the future, many people will be devoid of that type of employment due to a structural change. So that's structural unemployment. Rather cyclical वही बात है, जो साइकिल में एम्प्लॉयड होते हैं ये साइकिल में अनएम्प्लॉयड होते हैं. I have explained this voluntary and involuntary, structural. Now same things we have seen कि person either goes out of job or remain unemployed for a prolonged term till he acquires new skills. Simple. ये एग्जाम्पल ऐसे याद रखो. पहले VCR प्लेयर होते थे. First movies, the 90s kid would remember this thing, that we used to bring a VCR, video cassette recorder, on rent, because hardly anyone owned a VCR by that time in 90s. So VCR player, if I was skilled in repairing that, in 10 years it was replaced by CD players. CD players were replaced by DVD player within 4 to 5 years, then came this laptop and pen drive, and then now everything is being replaced by the smartphones and the digital technology. Now hardly anyone watch movie on DVD player or pen drives, because we have online platform like Amazon, Netflix, etc. So if, for suppose if I was skilled in this, so this technology came and I went unemployed. So I learned how to repair a CD player. In 2 to 3 years, DVD player came, and again I was unemployed because that was the market, and my skills were no longer required. Then I was skilled in DVD, and a disruption came and smartphone came. Same thing will happen with smartphone also. Another technology will come in few years, and those who are skilled in smartphone will go unemployed. Therefore, in India, skilling is not important. Only skilling is of no value because technology is changing day by day. We need to first skill the unskilled, and then we need to upskill upskill the skilled. Please note these sentences. These are the punchlines where you can have where you can write a very good way forward and score an extra mark in the mains examination. If question is on skilling, then this is the language of Niti Aayog. I am not it's not my language. If you read a Niti Aayog document on skilling, then the Niti Aayog is speaking of this thing. Also the World Bank also speaks that skilling is not only skilling is not important, but upskilling the skilled is also important to stay relevant in the market dynamics. Frictional: number of unemployed person under the condition number of job vacancy. Cyclical, seasonal, I have explained. Disguised, this is an important thing. See, I have said where worker productivity. Okay, this is okay. Worker productivity is not a proper term. Rather, it should be the marginal productivity, because unemployment is not just about an individual, but it is about whole enterprise. So the marginal productivity is essentially zero. This is the word. Okay. ये open employment in नाम ही काफी है. Cost of unemployment. See, where in any question of society where societal problem is there, just say unemployment for this example, or poverty, or women empowerment, or what we can say, the health concept of health. Here you can very beautifully write. If you cost of unemployment, you can put it like this: individual cost, societal cost. Then इसके नीचे ऐसा लिख दो, क्या क्या होंगे? इंडिविजुअल प्रॉब्लम, सेल्फ एस्टीम कम होगा, उसका डिस्पोजेबल इनकम कम होगा, उस वजह से उसका एक फाइनेंशियली डिस्ट्रेस्ड होंगे रहेगा, उस वजह से उसका फैमिली डिसरप्ट हो सकता है, फैमिली प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है. Then the individual out of frustration might go in trap of intoxication, which will take a heavy toll on his family, on his mental as well as physical health. Again, intoxication will make him unable to work on the next day. So this is how he will be pushed in the poverty trap. And then poverty is the evil of all, root of all evil. So this is how. Societal में क्या problem हो सकते हैं? Societal harm, increase law and order situation, theft, riots. You know, there is a correlation between unemployment and communal riots in this country. This is a study, another study, which was a very beautiful study. If you know, there is a Malegaon area in the Nasik district of Maharashtra, which is having very high percentage of Muslim population, and that is a very communally sensitive area. So the Maharashtra Police Department has done a study. Even the Central Home Minister has Home Ministry has done a study, uh, and they have come out with findings that the Muslim who are settled in Malegaon, they are from Julaha community, which is a weaver community. When the annexation of Awadh was done after the doctrine of lapse by Lord Dalhousie, uh, that was a very booming and a very good market for this weaver community. So when the province of Awadh was annexed, so then the British imposed very heavy revenue on the domestic production, so that it will die, and foreign demand, the demand for the foreign cloth from England will increase, and that's how British created their own market by destroying the local industries. So these the community of whole weavers, they went unemployed in few months, and then they started migrating to other places where there was alternate employment. So they came to the district of, they traveled along the heartland of India and to the Deccan, and they settled in the Nashik, because the cotton was growing in this area of Gujarat and Vidarbha and Marathwada. So that was accessible, and they started their business there. So there is a direct relation. When the market of cotton fluctuates, if the prices are dropped for continuously for a year or two, or if the taxes on textile are imposed on a heavy line, or if textile market, international market is disrupted, during those months riots are observed. This was studied based on the data. The riots were given definitely a communal color between two communities, the clashes. But every major or minor riot has to do something with the fluctuation in the market prices of cotton or textile, national and international prices. So that is how unemployment can impact on the societal harmony. So this was a study. So now, whenever there is fluctuation in market of cotton or textile, the vigilance of police and law enforcement agencies is increased in such communally sensitive zones of our country, where that is if they are dependent on that commodity. If there is a shoot in prices of some commodity belonging to a particular state, or if there is a collapse of the commodity in the of that state, so the vigilance is increased, because it can be anticipated that the financial distress or unemployment in that part may turn out in some form of violent political riots or communal riots, or the clashes between the commoners and the government agencies. So this is how the data and the analytical studies have helped us to understand the very deep complications coming out of unemployment. And this Malegaon case study can be quoted in mains or essay or ethics, because it's an official study. So what are the economic cost of unemployment? As you can see, huge cost, because unemployment means keeping our human resource idle, which is the best resource we have. Our human resource going to waste will impact on our nation's growth. These are the lines from NCERT that I have remembered, that the best resource any country can have is the human resource, not diamond, not gold, not coal, not bauxite, not timber. No resource is better than human resource, and unemployment means killing of this resource. So you can imagine the economic cost of unemployment. लोअर जीडीपी ऑफ इकोनॉमी वगैरह ये आप पढ़ लीजिए. I will request you, if you are very eager to understand any concept, then you can remember such formulae. But in my 3 years of experience, ये इतना यूज नहीं होता है। यूजुअल स्टेटस, करंट वीकली स्टेटस, ये वीकली सर्वे होता है, ये डेली होता है। इट इज सर्वे और estimate of unemployment. Policies to reduce unemployment. This is important thing. See, unemployment is is a very major concern in our political rallies from the first general election and in every state election. And I guess it will remain relevant in coming decades also. So, Narega, don't write short form, never write short form, but this is a slide, so okay. Mahatma MG Narega, always write full things. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, 100 days of unemployment, 100 days of promised employment for unskilled, unskilled labor, at least one per family in rural area, नरेगा। संपूर्ण ग्रामीण योजना, स्वर्ण जयंती, ये भी ठीक है, ये याद नहीं रहेंगे तो चलेगा, बट दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट। प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन प्रोग्राम, PMEGP, एंड प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स इंटीग्रेटेड अर्बन पॉवर्टी एरेडिकेशन प्रोग्राम, ठीक है। ऑल्सो यू कैन राइट न्यूअर स्कीम्स लाइक स्टैंड अप इंडिया, which focus on the rural women entrepreneurs from socially backward communities for non-agricultural entrepreneurs, non-agri entrepreneurs, to elevate the poor, because there is also a concept called as feminization of poverty. Feminization of poverty. That's why government is focusing that more financial benefits or credit, access to credit, access to credit shall go to the female, because they are, even in a poor family, the most deprived person you will find will be a female. So feminize to reduce, this is what the economic survey speaks of, feminization of poverty. So that's why a concept came out of this called as gender budgeting. Gender budgeting, to reduce this feminization of poverty, to reduce the unemployment. See, they are women, every woman is working, be it rural or urban, be it from any religion or any caste or any society, in any state or in any village of our country, or even in the world, but they are not appropriately paid. They are not appropriately paid. Leave a pay, but they are also not recognized. I don't remember when I thanked my mother for making or cooking the meal for me since childhood. We don't even recognize what efforts a domestic homemaker puts. So we are taking the services from many women because they are not formally employed. This is one thing, formal employment. They are not formally employed. So that's why now, to increase the formal employment of women, government is focusing to increase their formal employment through such schemes. So write the new scheme, because I think Narega was in 2005, and all these are since the era of Indira Gandhi ji when she was prime minister. So current government is focusing more on Narega and schemes, entrepreneur schemes like Skill India, Stand Up India. Another thing is Poshan Abhiyan with the health, National Food Security Act, Pradhan Mantri, the scheme for vendors, such a beautiful scheme to counter unemployment, which was, I think, this year only they launched for vendors. 10,000 rupees credit line is being given uh, to the vendors. Yes, Prime Minister Swanidhi. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This one. So writing the current government scheme will give you more marks, because this shows that you are very updated with the current affairs and the current government policies. So that shows your knowledge of current affairs. So these are the schemes, policies. Solution, what may be the solution? What are the problems? उसी को reverse कर दो. फ्रिक्शनल है तो विलिंगनेस, अंडर एम्प्लॉयमेंट की वजह से फ्रिक्शन है, तो क्रिएट हाई क्वालिटी जॉब्स, and government cannot create such high quality jobs. Okay, so this has to be private sector. In United States, hardly anyone is willing for a sarkari naukri or a government job, because private sector is so beautifully established there that they yesterday only the 10 richest people 10 richest people list came out. If anybody have seen it, out of 10, 8 are from USA, one is from India, and one is from France. Can you believe, out of the 10 richest people in this world, 8 are from USA, one is from India, and one is from France. So why this is happening? Because private sector is very strong in USA. So because high quality jobs can only be sustained in private sector. So यही सब solution में लिखना है. Creation of high quality jobs so that the highly skilled professionals shall be having job satisfaction. And to do that, we need to strengthen the private sector, because government sector has their own limitation. The role of the government is not to make profit. No, any government, even in United States, the government has a mandate to do socio-economic development, not individual development. The betterment of society, protecting our national strategic interest, advancing our domestic interests. These are the role of government. So creating a high quality jobs is not a role of government, nor they can do it, or even if they do it, they cannot sustain it. So strengthening the private sector. How you will strengthen private sector? By increasing the investment, by reducing the regulation. If government starts regulating too much private sector, then economic survey of 2016 and 17 call it a regulatory cholesterol. Regulatory cholesterol. Economic survey of 16-17 speaks of this. If government tries to control private sector with a very iron fist, too much tight control, then it will lead to cholesterol. What cholesterol do? Cholesterol damages your internal cardiovascular system. The blood flow is obstructed, and that's how the plaques are converted into the clots, and that's how your heart is choked, and heart attack comes, cardiac arrest comes, myocardial infarction comes, and the whole system dies. Why it happened? Because of the cholesterol. So too much government control is very harmful for private sector. No one will invest if government is very rigid. So that's why Niti Aayog came in the picture and say that role of the government, according to Niti Aayog, shall be the role of a facilitator. It should be the facilitator. Government shall just be there to facilitate the transaction of a business between two individuals, two firms, two countries, etc., etc. Disguised in unemployment, create employment opportunities in urban as well as rural. What I have given you the example is beautiful, is a food processing industry. Food processing industry will be game changer in coming years. Reason, see, these are very generic things. No expertise is required to. This shall not be the first point. Okay. On one hand, we are we are seeing humans as resource or humans as assets, and we cannot quote it immediately it as a liability. Of course, large population is a issue, but we shall not put it into the negative connotation. And that's why government of India has changed its policy of family planning or family control to family welfare. We shall not control or plan the family, but we shall only government shall see the welfare. Of course, limiting the population is one of the target, but it's not a first thing to write. This is the this is the most important thing. Most of our unemployed people, they are either unskilled or semi-skilled or low skilled or inadequately skilled. They are outdated. Example of that VCR, CD, DVD player, and that now smartphones. They are inadequately skilled, and that's why they remain unemployed. Yes, this shall be the second point. Huge workforce, but in informal sector or MSMEs give 11 crore jobs, 11 crore jobs, out of which 90% are in informal sector. We don't have any data on that. We don't have any data. Coming to the data, the Home Minister of this country and Prime Minister recently said that this whole unemployment data, the process of collecting this data is outdated. So what we are getting are false figures. It might be higher or it might be lower, but they are inaccurate because the process of collecting the data for unemployment is not adequate and is not tuned with the global practices, because unemployment of 1960s and unemployment of this century, they are they are hugely different. So the approach and the methodologies to estimate such data shall also be updated, and now government is working to update. Okay, because the one of the report came and said that uh, in the last 45 years unemployment is highest. So this is the direct criticism of the current government. So they came out with an explanation that these figures are wrong because whole methodology of collecting the estimates for unemployment is flawed, which is not just a political clearance, but it is also a fact. If you read thoroughly how unemployment data is collected, you yourself will realize that yes, indeed, this is not in the tune with global best practices. This is not a true picture because the methodology is very outdated. So this is thing. Now you can write inadequate state support, legal complexity, as I said, regulatory cholesterol. What legal complexity in another word is regulatory cholesterol, infrastructural challenges, inadequate data beta लिख दो, ठीक है. Agriculture, yes, unemployment. This is the uh, means what we can say biggest thing of for our unemployment, because 51% of our workforce is directly or indirectly related to agriculture, which is just 13.8% of our GDP, and it is this sector is utilizing 80% of our water, fresh water. So see how the mismanaged resources are there. Agriculture is absorbing 51% of our workforce. It is utilizing 80% of our water resources, fresh water resources, and it is contributing just 13.8% of GDP. So that's why we need to move out the workforce, move up and move out approach. We should move up our farmers, and gradually we shall move out them from the agriculture in a systemic way. And then we shall focus on water productivity instead of land productivity. इतने जमीन में कितना उत्पादन हो रहा है उससे ज्यादा इतने पानी में कितना उत्पादन हो रहा है इस पे फोकस होना चाहिए. And then if GDP remains low, no concern, and if it goes up, it's a good thing. Okay, so agriculture is another, is again a factor for unemployment. Consequences, we have seen it. Solution, see, these are just things you need to remember, but नरेगा एक्ट, मैंने जैसे बोला था ये 2005 में हुआ था. 100 days of paid work for unskilled, ये important word है, unskilled. Laws and provision in one thing, Narega. See, if a dam is being built under the Narega scheme, it is a centrally sponsored scheme. There are some split in the revenues, okay, finances, that procurement of material का state देगा या center देगा, wages of labor ये center से आएंगे या state से आएंगे, because state is giving, center is giving state some Narega fund also. So, and I think in this year 63,000 crores are being allotted to Narega. Last year it was 69,000 crores. So reduction in 6,000 crore is another criticism of the current budget, that you have reduced the Narega spending, which is very essential to target the seasonal unemployment or cyclical unemployment. Law and provision, simple है, फंडामेंटल राइट में ये इक्वलिटी का बात है, ये चाइल्ड लेबर से बात होती है. DPSP, यस, DPSP कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन आर्टिकल 41 राइट टू वर्क, नहीं, डोंट राइट सच लैंग्वेज. India's labor laws, yeah, this is now unemployment और लेबर पे आएगा तो लेबर कोड्स. Now India has adopted 4 labor codes. You read about that. This is not required, but you read 4 labor codes. Okay. So, yes, entrepreneurship, boost to entrepreneurship. Niti Aayog speaks of, because government cannot give job to everyone, so now self-employment is the best employment. Yes, Stand Up India, I said Make in India, Skill India, Startup India, Stand Up India for women from socially disadvantaged groups. Which SDG? I have given you a mnemonic, okay? We will go. Which SDG speaks about job? Can you give me, if anybody remembers, or shall I repeat how to remember most of these SDGs? It was simple, it was 8, SDG 8. See, I will again make you how to remember. 1 rupee coin, poverty. मेरे पास सिर्फ 1 रुपया है, poverty. 2 minutes Maggie, hunger, SDG hunger. 3 dosha in Ayurveda, Kapha Pitta Vata. 3 relates to health. 4 C's of education, Ardhanar Nareshwar, gender equality. 50-50, 50-50, Ardhanari, Ardhanar. 6, 1/6 of population don't have access to potable water, access to potable water. 7, Surya ke saath घोड़े, source of energy, so sustainable energy, Surya and energy. 8, most of the MNCs or private sector job starts at 8 AM shift. कितनी बार आपने देखा होगा, मॉर्निंग शिफ्ट है, आफ्टरनून शिफ्ट है, नाइट शिफ्ट है, that starts at 8 AM. So it relates with the job, inclusive job for all, then reducing pay gaps. Samir, right? 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. job, right? Nine name suggests nanotechnology. Nine is nanotechnology. Then this is how you remember. Oh, I have also said that 11 SDG 11 is about twin towers of New York World Trade Center. So sustainable cities, New York, twin towers. 14 is 15 is 14 is life underwater. 15, there are 15 tectonic plates. So life on land. 16, 17 is very generic. Youth for Peace and Harmony, International Peace and Harmony. Conclusion, you can read it. Eradication of mean creating more. Conclusion में आप ऐसे भी लिख सकते हो, eradication of animal means creating more manpower. Yes, creating more manpower instead of this, creating robust human resource. Because again, manpower is a patriarchal word, which is not an inclusive word. So better word is human resource for a country, which in turn creates and contributes to the economy of a country. The dipping economy of a country could uphold additional workforce. It can be put into the action by empowering them. ठीक है, conclusion is okay. Economic inequality, Kuznets curve, sigma, right? Gini coefficient and Lorentz curve. Inequality, according to a recent report, if 100 rupees was earned in India in last 1 year, 71 rupees went to 1% of population and 29 rupees went to the remaining 99% of population. And this is the state of affairs, where rich are becoming richer and poor are becoming poorer. So that is how the economic divide of this country is increasing, which is definitely not good. Definitely not good. Why Nations Fail is a book. If you have a hobby of reading, then you might read that institutional paralysis, policy uncertainty, and increasing economic inequality are the reasons why nations fail, because the very cause of French Revolution, the very cause of French Revolution was economic inequality. The very cause of American Revolution was economic exploitation of colonies. And yes, in case of India also, a huge factor that led to the civil unrest, the unrest among the middle classes and the upper classes, was the economic exploitation that has been done by the British imperialism in our country, which was highlighted by Dadabhai Nauroji, which was earlier a advocate of British Raj, but later he realized through his book the Un-British Rule, the economic drain theory. In his book, The Un-British Rule in India, Dadabhai Nauroji speaks of the exploitation in the name of house charges and how they exploited our country. So this is the importance of reducing economic inequality, because any struggle or any conflict against the establishment has started by one of the major reason is economic inequality. So economic inequality leads to social inequality. Now, this post-COVID world order, there are certain apprehensions among the think tank of this world that or in this country specifically, that caste system might be replaced by class system, because hygiene is now the core. You must have seen many people have fired their domestic maids or domestic helpers just out of fear that they might contract COVID because of them, because these workers are coming from the slums or lower socioeconomic strata where there are unhygienic conditions, and that's how COVID has increased the segregation lines on the basis of class. Now अब कास्ट चली गई और अब क्लास आ रही है, ऐसा कोई लोग सोच रहे हैं. So again this will create the economic divide, will create the social divide, right? There was in if it comes in ethics, then you must write that there was a case where McDonald's has prohibited street children, even if they were paying for their orders. They were not begging, they were paying, but they have removed these children, street children, from the McDonald facility, and many civil society opposed it. And in protest, civil societies took those children again for a McDonald meal. So then later McDonald apologized. So this is how economic segregation leads to social segregation, which is not good, which is not in tune with any article, article 14, 15, DPSP, fundamental duties, every aspect. Many laws are there. Anti-social boycott law of Maharashtra is the first state to put. Assam is also a state. So this is how policies are made to reduce the inequality. Gini coefficient, Lorentz coefficient questions comes only in the coaching class papers, but UPSC hardly asks them. What is Lorentz curve? This is A, this is B, and this is C. This is the economic gap. Okay, ये पढ़ लेना, important. अभी तक तो UPSC ने नहीं पूछा है. Gini coefficient is a coefficient. When it comes to inequality, I'll say world. You can draw this graph. And economic inequality is not just in a feature of South Asia, okay? It is throughout the world. Now you will surprise when we will see highest economic inequality is in South Africa, followed by USA, and India is just here. So these countries, South Africa, United States, Europe also comes here. So India is better well off when it comes to even China. There are huge economic inequalities. China. This is a graph you can write as this country, and this is the percentage of economic inequality of the population. Okay. There is a report for economic inequality. I think we have finished our unemployment thing. Right. So welcome back. Animal rearing. So there is a basic difference. Okay. There is a basic difference when it comes to Indian agriculture. Do you know there is difference between agriculture and cropping? Generally, we think that agriculture is all about crop. No. Agriculture means farming, which is has to do farming is cropping. Farming means crops, but agriculture is a wide term. It's a wide term which involves cropping or farming plus animal husbandry. In animal husbandry, milk cattle, meat cattle, poultry, fishes, every etc. etc. Okay, plus agro processing. All this means farming plus animal husbandry plus value addition of primary products is a agriculture. That means agriculture is a whole holistic word which integrates and involves different parameters. Okay. So animal rearing, I think आपको basic पता चल गया. Significant role in development of India's economy. Why? Because India has the largest cattle population in the world. Largest cattle population. India is the largest milk producing country in the world, as well as largest consumer of milk and milk products in the world. India is a very unique country with a huge vegetarian population. That's why even though we have largest cattle population, we have developed alternate milk or dairy industry. So this is how animal husbandry forms an integral part in our India's economy. Okay. So schemes. These are the schemes that might be asked in the examination. National Livestock Mission (NLM) 2014-15. It ensured the quantitative and qualitative improvement in the livestock production system, right from the conception to the final stages of the. It's a life cycle approach, life cycle of an animal, right from the quality of seed or sperms or seeds to their initial stages, then their productive stages, be it eggs or milk, to their final stages of meat. In their intermediate stages, the droppings are the sources for manure, natural manure, dung, poultry droppings, etc., etc. Fishes, fishes like gambusia, gambusia, also called as guppy, are used to control the mosquito population in the water bodies or around the water bodies or river. Mosquito control the mosquito because they are the predators of mosquito and various other insects or pathogens which are harmful for human. So this is how animals or animal rearing form an integral, not just have the economic benefit, they also have health benefit, and they are also having environmental benefit, economic, health and environmental benefit. So this is also another sustainable model of economic sustainability or overall sustainability. But also new studies are being shown. If a question in mains comes, then you must also write, according to IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change panel study, cattle industry is one of the largest emitter of methane, CH4, which is a very potent greenhouse gas. So this is also criticism that it is also having an environmental cost, because to raise 1 kg of beef you require 11,000 liters of water, and it also emits It also emits through its life cycle a huge amount of methane. So consumption of water and release of methane for 1 kg of meat, red meat, it's economically unsustainable. So this is another criticism. So whenever you are writing answer in mains examination, you have to balance it through arguing on the both sides. What are the pros? What are the cons? Okay. I think just to test the attentiveness of all our friends which are connected, just in the chat type hi. So another as I said, kindly write the current schemes. National Livestock Mission is forms the bedrock of all the same. Rashtriya Gokul Mission, indigenous, this word shall come, you should remember in MCQ. If the question is on Rashtriya Gokul Mission, which might come because the whole UPSC world has been surprised by the question paper of the preliminary examination of 2020, 4th October. Such a huge weightage was given to agriculture, which is unprecedented. If you remember, if you see the paper, around 18 questions were directly, indirectly on the agricultural knowledge, and that was also a very eccentric questions, very generic, and hardly anybody could anticipate. So the agriculture is back into the game, which such unprecedented at unprecedented level. So kindly focus on agriculture. It might come in any form. So every word is important. Rashtriya, here it is the key given in the name. It is saying national or Rashtriya, it's indigenous. It speaks of indigenous bovine breeds. They might drop this word or they might also give you an option that Rashtriya Gokul Mission deals only with indigenous bovine variety. Now we have a tendency to eliminate such extreme words, but in this case, it's true. It's true. In the chat. Okay. So Rashtriya Gokul Mission we have done. Development and conservation of individual indigenous breed, right? Breeding program. Yes, around 2002 to 2010, such question used to come where they used to ask the name and odd man out which of the following is not an indigenous variety. So you just Gir Sahilwal. Sahiwal is a city in Pakistan, but the breed is found in Rajasthan. Rathi, the Parker, Red Sindhi, Bhawalpuri. Uh, some cattle, I think buffalo varieties are also there. Famous are Muradabadi. If you have seen, I think the horns of that Muradabadi is like this, round horns. वो जो गोल सिंग वाली भैंस होती है वो मुरादाबादी होती है. Another is Pandhari or Pandharpuri. These are the two famous buffalo breeds. But question is most likely on indigenous cow, because cow is also in many times in news recently. So Gir, Sahiwal, Rathi, Thar Parker, and Red Sindhi. One more variety is very much in news of cow. I am not able to remember. I think Gir and Red Sindhi. These are in news. Some data or study has shown that they have very high uh, of nutritional value of milk is very good. Livestock census conducted every 5 years. Just a quick revision. Tiger census every 4 years. Lions, tiger, lion census every 5 years. Agri census 5 years. Livestock census 5 years. Forest census, forest census. Just go through just Google it. Forest census. I think it's biennial. Two years का होता है या I'm not able to remember, but I guess it's two. So these are the some censuses in UPSC. Uh, only you should remember tiger is 4 years, and rest lion, agri census, livestock census. These are 5 years. Okay, and how these numbers or of years are decided? There is a science behind it. These are not just random numbers. It is the reproductive rate of an animal that decides the census of that animal. Tiger has faster reproductive rate as compared to lion. That's why every 4 years there will be significant change in the tiger population. Yes, forest census 2 years, right? So every but the reproductive cycle in case of lion is a delayed one, so it is 5 years, and for elephant it is having the highest gestational cycle. So elephant census, I don't have the idea, but this is how the but elephant is not more in wild, so we have data, ample data, but tiger and lions cannot be domesticated in any form, so that's why we need to have census about them, periodic census. Okay. Yes, Ministry of Fishery and Husbandry and Dairy. So, elephant is also 5 years. So highest census is 5 years. So the animals with higher gestation period or higher reproductive cycles, longer reproductive cycles will come in 5 years, whereas tiger is 4 years and forest is 2 years. So these are the figures you must remember. So census is beneficial for policymaker because it gives us the data, and data is power. Just remember, in this world of misinformation, in this world of misinformation or informational asymmetry, clarity is power. What a beautiful sentence for a way forward or starting sentence in a question of fake news or data theft or the importance of data. In this world of misinformation or informational asymmetry, clarity is power. And that's the importance of data. That's the importance of data in today's life. Livestock head count. So India has largest number of livestock. India has largest number of buffaloes. See, Indians are obsessed with buffaloes because it has high fat percentage in the milk, and that is the same reason why Europeans and Americans are not obsessed, are reluctant to have buffalo in their farms because it has high fat percentage. So these are about priorities. Indians loves fat in the milk, and the rest of the world does not like fat in their milk. Ironically, China is a country which is not much into the dairy industry, because now the concept of anthropology comes into the action. The cultural taboos. Chinese community believes that feeding the milk is not a good practice as it is meant for the calf, or the Chinese culture does not accept milk. So the milk consumption is very low in China, and even for the meat purpose, they rely on pork, non-milching animal like pig or pork. So that's how culture affects the data and census of economy also. if China would have been into milk obsession, just like us or the Europe, the Chinese would have definitely been number one in the world. But they are culturally reluctant to go towards milk. Even they don't use cheese or paneer. They have invented their own version of it called as tofu, which comes from the soybean milk and not it comes from the soybean. So it tastes like paneer or cheese. It is more nutritious than paneer because soybean is 42% protein by dry weight. Such a the dry weight of 100 gram soybean will contain 42 gram of proteins. So this is the high density protein. So that's how China. Okay. Yes, my favorite leader. Here he comes, Dr. Verghese Kuren. He is, for me, the best leader I have seen in my life. Is known as the White Man of India, aka the father of White Revolution. These are the informal words, okay? This White Revolution, etc. Try to avoid this thing. You can write it definitely the Milk Revolution directly. This white, these are an informal word. He led India away from the less productivity, breaking conventional barriers. Okay, White Revolution. You can read it about. He actually he went in the area of Saurashtra, which is drought hit, where agri distress was there, rural distress was there. Through his managing skills in the dairy department, he formed the cooperative Anand Milk United, Anand Milk Union Limited, Amul, the taste of India. What has started in a very small and humble village of Anand district is now the taste of India through the vision of one man, which has revolutionized the lives of millions of poor farmer. It's not like that he went to the wheat belt or sugarcane belt of our country and he made uh, the rich more richer or richest. It's not like that. He went to the most underprivileged, inaccessible, inhospitable, and economically unviable, politically weaker area of our country, the Saurashtra region, which is a barren land where monsoons are not good and the economic and distress or the agrarian distress and farmer suicide is very prevalent. So he realized that farming will not be a profitable business here. So shift another aspect of agriculture is animal husbandry. So he revolutionized it to the cooperative, making the value chain with value addition, processing the milk and milk products, and this is how now they are very rich and they are very prosperous group of farmers. Okay. Government policies towards women empowerment, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Okay, this is an ambitious scheme. It was launched in January 2015 from Panipat, Panipat area. I guess it is in the Hisar district of Haryana. I am not sure of the district, but it started from Panipat. Now, why I am telling you this? What has to do? What Panipat has to do with Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao? If you know the historical great battles in India were fought from Panipat. Even the mentions that Mahabharata was fought on Panipat. Then the first, second, and third war, Battle of Panipat, one, two, and three. Third was between Ahmad Shah Abdali and the Marathas. First was between, I guess it was between Dara Sikho, no, not Dara Sikho. Second was between Akbar and Hemu. Third was between the Marathas and Ahmad Shah Abdali. And first was between Panipat. Can anybody answer it? I'm not able to recall, but it was between two Mughals. It was between two Mughals. Babur and Ibrahim Lodi, right? Right. Yes. Ibrahim Lodi was an arrogant ruler, and his uncle Daulat Khan Lodi, I guess, invited Babur to come and teach Ibrahim a lesson. So Babur came on the invitation of an insider, and he came and he defeated and killed Ibrahim Lodi, and that's how it led to the establishment of the Mughal dynasty on India. The autobiography is Babur is Tuzuk-e-Babari. Only two Mughal emperors have written their own autobiographies. It means it's a sense, okay, writing his or her own autobiography. But many Mughals used to hire the writers to write their biographies in a lucrative, in a flowery language. Only Babur and Shah Jahan were the two emperors who has written their own autobiography. Means they have written by their hand. Okay. Tuzuk-e-Babari, and it was not in Urdu or Arabic, but it was in some tribal language of the Central Asian. Okay, so this is Beti Bachao. Back to our topic, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Panipat, Hisar district of Haryana, because Panipat is a symbol of the great battles that India has fought, and there is a next battle which is against the sex discrimination, which we must win at any cost by saving the girl child, not just saving but also giving her a quality of life with the empowered agencies, access to agencies and empowerment. So this is the symbolic city for war against any enemy. So the sex discrimination is the enemy in front of us, and we have, that's why, see, these people are very smart. The government agency, very smart. Such a beautiful symbolism is used, and that's what is called as nudge, the theory of nudge, for which Richard Thaler got Nobel Prize 2 years back. Nudge, these are behavioral sciences. Okay, behavioral sciences. अगर एक बड़ा वॉर आपको छेड़ना है सेक्स डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के अगेंस्ट, तो पानीपत से छेड़ो, जो हिस्ट्री के लिए टेस्टिफाई करता है कि हमने ये युद्ध जीते हैं, हमने यहाँ युद्ध लड़े हैं. So Panipat is in our behavior and conscience as a land of epic battle, and that's why it was launched from there. So targeted at improving child sex ratio, try ministry. This is important. Remember, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao is not under any one ministry, but Women and Child Development, HRD, and Health and Family Welfare. 3 ministry. So when अगर मेंस में आएगा तो ट्रायंगल बनाना, 1 2 3 ऐसे मिनिस्ट्री को कोट कर देना. सर्व शिक्षा अभियान, we have many times we have seen it. 2009 में बनाया था इस पे एक्ट, बट इसका आर्टिकल 21A फंडामेंटल राइट बनाया गया. इसमें एक DPSP में भी इसमें ऐड हुआ था अमेंडमेंट 2000. ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, न्यू स्कूल्स, जहाँ स्कूलिंग नहीं है, अल्टरनेट स्कूलिंग फैसिलिटी दो, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे काम करो, टॉयलेट्स, व्हाई फीमेल स्टूडेंट्स फ्रॉम रूरल बैकग्राउंड ड्रॉप आउट. ऑब्वियसली टॉयलेट फैसिलिटीज नहीं होती है वहाँ पे, इसीलिए सो दैट इज ऑल्सो अ रीजन. सो वर्क ऑन दैट. टेक्स्ट बुक्स का पैसा नहीं होता, यूनिफॉर्म्स का पैसा नहीं होता, तो गवर्नमेंट देगा. एंड लाइफ स्किल्स, नॉट जस्ट कंपार्टमेंटल एजुकेशन, बट हॉबी डेवलपमेंट, स्पोर्ट्स डेवलपमेंट, performing arts, visual arts like painting, performing arts like dance, drama. These are also essential for holistic development.